Corn Warriors is presented by Pivot Bio.
Guys, we're out here on our Hibner farm, just north of Jasper. Here with Joe Deadman here with Monty's. Taking a look at some corn here. Today is the 16th, 17th? 18th. Well, I knew it was one of them days. We've kind of had a crazy spring so far. We held out planting. First corn was, I think, May 13th we planted. This was planted May 16th, I believe. We had perfect planting conditions this year. Corn got up to about V2, and then Mother Nature opened up the floodgates. We've had about 15, 16 inches of rain since then. We're running Monty's humic, which without a doubt, it is definitely the leader of the pack as far as the humics. You just see that more humics we use, the less commercial fertilizer we have to use. And that's what it's all about, you know, increasing the efficiency of the plant.
And last but not least, once your corn knee-high by July, better get the plant, boys.
I make my living off the land.
We're definitely gonna get rowdy this year.
With aching back and callous pain.
I'd like to say that this season's gonna be better.
Old man said you reap what you sow.
If you're gonna do something, be the best you can be at it.
Out here in these fields of gold.
It's hard out here.
I work harder, I get the job done, yeah, I'm a farmer. I don't back down no matter what comes my way.
I'm always bringing the heat. We in Alabama.
I'm an early riser, an all-nighter. You call me plowboy, yeah, I'm a fighter. Ain't gonna stop till they put me in my grave.
We're coming back a little harder this year.
I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior.
Look how big these stalks are. Massive stalks. This here should be, in this particular spot here, is probably about 37,000. We'll just go ahead and see how much we got here.
34.
34, but they look good.
Yeah. You know, population can make or break high yields based on not getting enough water, getting enough nutrients. And when you put it in this particular range, it's a good range for it to pull up all the nutrients and water it needs.
Anytime we've gotten over 42,000, we have never had a higher yield on our farm.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? The corn ear is telling me. He's listening.
We're here with the corn whisperer, Joe Deadman. Yeah, you always want it to look better, you know, but you know, I don't know how we can get it to look much better. I mean, big stalks, you know, look at, like I said, look at these leaves already. You know, like.
When that seed corn is in the bag, we're roughly, according to a lot of the companies, 700, 800 bushel potential.
Yeah.
Potential. The second that seed hits that ground, the clock starts ticking.
Yeah.
So really what you're doing is protecting the yield potential every time you apply something or come out here. So if you're protecting it to get to the 800 bushel, then with all the stresses and everything that happens, weather events and whatever, that's when it starts reducing it from 800, 600, 500, 400, 300, 200. So it's not a matter of, you know, farmers say, well, hey, I'm gonna go out and do this and I'm gonna put another 30 bushel on. No, you just protected the 30 bushel to keep from losing it. And that's the whole strategy is this plant is a factory, and if you can protect it or keep it running at high efficiency, that's how you get to the high yield.
We're
We're out today looking at a Pivot Bio field.
We're looking at being able to cut back your synthetic nitrogen and being able to replace that in furrow with a micro.
Where the starter washed out, the Pivot Bio corn is still green at the end of the year.
We've been using BASF. We've really fell in love with the Veltima.
We recommend BASF.
It lasts longer and works harder to make sure that you're covered from head to toe.
See that butterfly on my wrist right there? So that's called, I think, some North American something something. So the other day I was down here and it was like they were invading, you know, like the locusts, you know. I mean, they were just frickin' everywhere. I thought, what in the, I've never seen these before. What the heck is this? Turns out, Melissa looked at what they were, and like I said, I think it's North America, blah, 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 something. They nest or whatever, or feed or whatever they do on hackberry trees, and there's a bunch of hackberry trees and all that woods over there. So that's why they're all here, I guess. We weren't being completely invaded, but I think it's got something to do with all the dry weather, actually. We had a butterfly plague. It's not as bad as the locust, I understand. Or the frogs. Frogs are bad. But I think butterflies isn't so bad. The great butterfly plague of 2021. All right, so we're out in one of our contest fields. It's been looking pretty good. We did take a frost on it, set it back a week, but it snapped out pretty quick because we got some heat and some sunshine. We had a lot of good fertility under it. It's about V7, and we're gonna do a Y drop app out here. I think I'm starting to run out of N on it because I didn't put it quite as much on with the planter as I normally do. We had some other products in there. So we gotta get some more N out. You know, they say at V6, you're already determining your girth as early as V8, V9, starting to get the length of your ear. So we want a good shot of fertility just before it's determining its length. And luckily this is an irrigated field. It's really dry around here, but we got water here. So we're gonna go out and Y drop this in. I'll turn the water on it. We'll be able to get her watered in and get the nutrients in the plant right away, and it should give her a big boost. We'll see how it does. Yeah, moving it kind of sucks. I told David when I die, hopefully it happens before then, I said, just buy a third pivot so we don't have to move that all frickin' time. I got the drinks. So what we were doing here, it's kind of an infield jar test. We had a lot of products already in the sprayer. I was going to put a calcium product, which is Calbor from Concept Agritech. Sometimes calcium has some issues with certain things, so I wanted to double check. We figured our math out. I put in probably double what we're going to put, and then this now I put in probably 4 or 5 times what we're actually going to put, and I see no issues, so we're going to go ahead and put it in now. But sometimes it's a good idea to do this instead of plugging the whole system up. We do a lot of our own. Like on the planters, mostly raw micros, you know, totes of zinc, totes of this, totes, you know, and we do all our own mixing. Solubizing a lot of different products, copper sulfate. I'll be solubizing some AMS later. You know, the boron, solubizing all that. We put, I got a 2,000 gallon tank at home. I put like 2,400 pounds of boron in that 2,000 gallon, but I'm agitating heavy while I put it in there. But when you get down to cost, I'm making that boron for half of what you could buy a 10% for, probably, you know. You can't handle the boron. Doing a lot of different trials, and one of them is Concept Agritech. We're doing a in-furrow starter trial. The thing I'm the most excited to try is a bunch of bugs. It's a biological. We're excited to see how they work out.
Today I'm running Monty's dry carbon. We're doing a lot more soil health stuff. Soil biology is the key to everything. The best humic product on the market is Monty's humic.
Corn Warriors is presented by Pivot Bio.
So this is what you want to look at. When you go out and look at a field, you can look across there. I mean, that is about as tabletop high as what you're going to find across the farm. Get right down here at eye level, you know, you don't see any waves.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what you're after. This is the edge of our manure pile. Look how dark green. Well, you take your sunglasses off, it even looks darker. You know, look across to this farm looks pretty good.
What I'm noticing is this is a darker green.
Yeah.
On these leaves, so you don't see the streaking. The more dark green a leaf is, the more photosynthesis it's capable of doing, because that's the chlorophyll catching the sunlight.
You know, and just so much yield potential you lose just by not having even corn. You know, most of the time, we can control that, you know, especially on the emergence. You know, if, you know, we always say you want at least 100 GDUs, preferably 100 GDUs before it rains. We've proved that time and time again that you don't have to plant early. You know, the biggest factor on growing corn is a good stand. It's all about even emergence. So if anybody can tell me exactly what a corn plant is going to use at the beginning of the year through the whole season, you're full of shit. You can't do it because you don't know what the weather is. Gonna get toasty today, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
This corn here was planted the same day we planted Hypners too, this field here. We're gonna do a little root dig, kind of see what's going on. You know, Joe, we dug up just down on the other field there when the corn was at V2 before we had a lot of rain, and the ground was really loose, really great conditions. And now we've 15, 16 inches of rain later. You know, just walking in it, you can feel how hard the ground has gotten. Just kind of see what's going on underneath the ground here. Oh, I heard a bunch break. You see here, even though we're breaking a bunch off, you can still see a lot of root hairs that we're cutting off as we're digging. So, as you can see, this actually looks pretty good. So a plant was sitting in there like this. See right here is where it's going out to the 2x2 band, both sides. And look where most of our roots are. Following that 2x2 band. Don't see any mohawking. No mohawking of the roots. Where the seed would be laid, their roots would be running right here. Just looks like a mohawk. I mean, basically, instead of this, just imagine all the roots being just like this, right underneath here. So most of that comes from just by either planting a little wet or cranking down too much down pressure on your corn planter. You know, it's kind of like I tell my kids, you know, if you're gonna do something, be the best you can be at it, or don't do it. You know, do everything that you can to get as good as you can and let everything else take over.
We need to go feed the catfish. You know that movie, 50 Shades of Grey? Our corn is 50 shades of green and yellow. It's just too much rain. I mean, I think Kevin said we've had, usually about this time, we'll have like 7 inches of rain. I think we're up to 17 inches of rain. That's farming, you just never know. As Kevin would say, Mother Nature can be a real lovely lady.
So we're getting ready to finally start wide dropping here. Hof Equipment, our Case IH dealer, fixed our Haggie. They got pretty heavy, severe storms coming this afternoon, late this evening. Kind of concerned about it.
We're going to put the Y drop on. This is the Y drop that got stuck underneath the tote that we had to get the skid loader to get it out because it was stuck underneath there, one of the cords was. All good in the day of life of Kevin Cobb Farms.
What the f? So that's about it, about as fast as we can run. 3.6, and now it's shutting off again, surging. Got a Snickers bar?
I don't.
Because we're not going anywhere for a while. Guys, it's been a great day here. Not very productive, you know, working on sprayer Haggie, but you know, you guys are heading out, going to see Perry, and we got a lot of to do, so you guys better get the hell out of here so we can get back to work. Thank you.
Ran the Copperhead Pearl Cruiser this year. Been very good, very happy with it. A lot more aggressive on the closing. Just a simple addition to the planter for better closing.
We're out today looking at a pivot biofield.
We're looking at being able to cut back your synthetic nitrogen and being able to replace that in furrow with a micro.
Where the starter washed out, the pivot biocorn was still green at the end of the year.
What's that?
Leaking that much? Like, you're good.
No, it shouldn't be leaking that much.
What do you need?
David, hey! It's leaking like a...
I'll move.
Take that molly up, 2.5 of your cups. Then with those, no, I would just go dump it up top. And then these 5 bags are going in the top too.
How short?
You should have held it easy. Just tip back, but yeah, you're full basically. Well, if I had to lack something, it'd be what it is. But...
I gotta play with the setting, but I gotta get going first.
Okay, all right, let's stop. I gotta find a flag up here. And then, I mean, I want basically your outside to be there, you know, at the flag, or if it's a little overlap, it's not a big deal. But you gotta find a certain spot on the rows you wanna go in.
I need to be on a planter pass.
All right, so I'll find it and then I'll get you on a planter pass. Can you put a different rate in and switch back and forth?
Yeah, I can.
Probably rather do it on the end when we're stopped, though, wouldn't you? Or do you got a percentage?
I mean, I
want to drop to 35 up here pretty quick, but if we can't do it right now, we can wait till we get to the end. Well, so as you're doing this, okay, look over to your right. You get past the end of the pivot. You're going to go up to Roger's fence. See it up there?
Yeah. Change it there.
Change it there. It's about now.
The contest stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be 35 over here and 45 back there.
All right.
Just skipping one pass.
Well, you're not skipping, you know what I mean? You're going back in on your next pass.
Okay.
Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Should be laying a pretty good line down there. I can't really see it from where I'm at, but
I don't think it was putting any on.
it says it's too high.
What's too high?
It said my rate was too high. Oh, I know what. It's a preset.
Why are you stuck?
We're plugged.
Oh, still.
Yeah, he's not running. He's just he went turn around. He's got to come in. We got to unplug everything. Hopefully we can just clean the filters and they'll go, because the product in the tank looks all right, but that don't mean any addition out the bottom. But we had a different mix. We put that phosphorus in there, but to me it looked like it was more like a grit that might have been. Some of it might even have been in the last, and it just got enough now to plug it. So I don't know. I'm hoping we clean the filters and it goes then. But he's already pissed. He's gonna be really pissed if he's got to keep going.
Yeah.
I didn't know, I guess.
Oh, fine.
They all pretty well flushed, you think?
That's
We got to get those. You don't have a little brush, do you, in that toolbox that would go down in them filters?
I think I might. I also have compressed air.
Go pull your main. Can you open a valve to get a little product out that bottom filter housing? I took some out of the filter housing, Nate, and it's I mean, it's all right. Well, it's that color, but it's all right, though, I think. Here, see. You know, see, I had a little in the pail, but there ain't much there.
Much in there. I think it's just in that housing coming out of there, don't you?
Yeah, and I think we just, I think we loaded it up and.
All right, that whole section, I'm just gonna redo it.
Next week on Corn Warriors.
I've got some little friends in my field. We're gonna kill them.
We had a lot of gray leaf pressure early.
We're using insecticide and hopefully add some test weight.